Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from IraSportsDaily.com. I am your host, Greg Flammang, and with me, as always, is Jamie Uyeyama, Mr. Jamie University. It is Thursday, March 12th. Spring practice starts next week. We've got press conferences. We've got some open practices. And so we're going to kind of, I don't want to say preview it because we've talked a lot about Notre Dame roster, but we come up with some kind of predictions, some hot takes about the spring and what we think will happen. Some kind of like not a lot of stakes involved in our takes here, just practice, and that's what they're doing. But it's a very exciting time for the Notre Dame football team. A lot of new faces and a lot of questions to be answered. Running back, wide receiver, things of that nature. And then we're gonna kick off the show a little bit with some Brian Kelly magic, some magic from the former Notre Dame head coach, talking about his departure from Notre Dame. Pretty good stuff. So that's going to be the show today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. And please hit the notification bell so you know whenever it is we are going live. As always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ge Wang. You've seen ESQ and all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches. From All-Americans to All-Pros and Associates to CEOs, you're in great hands with ESQ's custom clothing. Whether you're looking for a perfect fitting suit, a standout sport coat, or a perfect tuxedo for wedding galas, ESQ's master tailors blend traditional hand stitching in each garment with Italy and England's best fabrics. Check out Ge's amazing work at esqclothing.com. Book an appointment to upgrade your wardrobe today. Mention ISD and get 10% off your entire purchase. That's esqclothing.com. As we kick off the show, Jamie, I want to recap the incredible video that I sent you from my daughter's 7-year-old flag football game. I'm gonna tell you something. There was a play in this game, and it's an homage to this show. It was one of the best hustle plays I've ever seen. There was a 7-year-old girl on the opponent. Jamie saw it. Jamie was buzzing. I was buzzing. I was like telling people,
Sports Center top 10, folks. It was incredible.
First of all, on the reverse, so there's like, we run a reverse, and then the girl reverses fields like twice. She stays at home.
Already was like an incredible run from her.
She stays at home, and she's perfectly, like, it's teach tape on how to do this. Then the girl reverses field, makes a beeline, full field, all across the entire. This is like 60 yards that this girl tracked. The ball carrier. She makes a diving grab of the flag at like the 2-yard line. And the next play, we throw an interception. I told you in the text, I found her father on the, I have no idea who this girl is. I don't know what her name is. I found her father, and I was like, I have to send you this video. It's the best thing I've ever seen. But I sent it to you, and you were as lit up as I was. No one else appreciated it as much as you did. So I appreciate that, Jamie.
They don't know ball. They don't know ball.
They don't know ball, man. It's teach tape pursuit drill stuff. It was awesome.
Incredible. I personally too, like, I'm just gonna say, you see a lot of stuff when people say, like, hey, when you put your highlight tape out, make sure you include this, make sure you include that. Always think, whether it's beginning or end, usually beginning, if your first play is a hustle play where you are running somebody down on film, that gets my attention right away. That automatically gets my attention because you're going to watch the first couple plays on anyone's tape.
For sure.
But when you get that and you see somebody like Bryce Young, this is one of these things where I'm like, he's running a guy down. And I was like, I don't know what Bryce Young is as a player right now, but I know what he can be just from watching this super freaky long dude run a guy down.
Yeah.
Who would have scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So, man, I can't even, like, honestly, it was one of the best plays I've ever seen in a flag football game.
I whatever this girl does in her life, whether it's sports or whatever, I'd put it on there. If I was applying for a job, I'd be like, this is what you're getting. Like, this is what you're getting from me. Just straight up, just grit and vigor. That I loved
I
it.
didn't include a cover letter. I just included this clip of me doing this. It's honestly that good.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about BK. He talked to Dusty Dvoracek and Danny Cannell on Sirius XM. He talked about he didn't plan on leaving Notre Dame. They tore down an apartment complex, which like I don't know how if that's I
That's
don't
not a flex, my
know of
guy.
that. Don't say that. Don't that's this man is a terrible son of a politician. He's a terrible politician. Like he's literally
Terrible.
awful messaging on this. He said he tore down an apartment complex as a sign of like we weren't planning to leave Notre Dame, which is kind of meaningless because you ended up leaving Notre Dame. So
Yeah.
and it isn't like Notre Dame forced you out; it was your choice. So that's kind of like a meaningless anecdote. He talks about why he left, and I'm just going to quote: "Our deal coming in was we need to get this program back to being an elite program. Everybody associates success with winning national championships or winning Super Bowls or World Series. I get that. I totally get that. But that wasn't our mindset. Our mindset was to get this program back and be a consistent force in college football. So in some instances, we felt like our job had been completed and we had one more challenge left. And that was to win a national championship. That's what the mindset was leading into that decision." So, you know how there's the Kobe quote from they were up 2-0 against the Magic, and the guy's like, "Why aren't you happy?" And he's like, "Is the job's not finished? Job finished?" And I think for Brian Kelly, the answer is yes, job finished. We had some 11-win seasons. We went to the college football playoff twice, and that's good. We're good at Notre Dame. An incredible statement that he made. There's nothing. The man validated everything anyone ever said about him in terms
Yeah.
of just like being happy with like the bare minimum
Yeah.
of what success is at Notre Dame. So it truly mind-boggling stuff from BK there.
Apparently not humbled by getting fired at all. The thing is too is like, and Matt shared the that clip of him saying like specifically that on Twitter if you want to check it out. So you can
Yeah.
just see that clip of the interview. So you don't have to check out the whole interview because whatever. But it is I can't believe how bad this guy is at PR. He is terrible
Yeah.
at it. And the thing is that he did something at Notre Dame that should be celebrated, but he can't let it be celebrated because he is so unlikable and he has to keep taking these L's publicly to make it worse, to make himself look worse. Because he never takes any accountability for anything and just makes excuses. Like I wrote it in six thoughts that the all he had to say was this, like honestly, piece of paper, take this, BK. I'm proud of what we accomplished at Notre Dame. My only regret is not winning a national championship. It's a special place. People deserve it after being so far removed from being a contender for too long. I wish it got done. I'm happy to see the success they're having under Marcus Freeman. And that's it. If he just says that, instead of all the stupid stuff, well, you don't have this or you can't have that or whatever, guess what? They're not going to build him a statue. It was never going to happen anyways. But people would look at him and look back at it fondly if he did it the right way. I mean, there's also a dozen years of him sticking his foot in his mouth at Notre Dame too. So that goes with it. But in the end, there could have been time that went away and he could have built up goodwill. No matter what happened at LSU, he could have built up goodwill or turned it into something where you're honoring Lou Holtz, who just passed away. It's a layup. Take it.
Yeah.
Instead, this guy's got to bomb fadeaway threes and act like Cash. He is essentially like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Along Came Polly. Like raindrops and just bricking left and right because he can't help himself. It with the excuses he made at LSU, it's just like no one cares. It's like, ultimately, yeah, I got fired because I didn't win a national championship. Nah, you lost 14 games in 4 years. His last 4 years at Notre Dame, he lost 6 games. He went 44-6. And the thing is, too, is the reason why no one, even though deep down, Jack Swarbrick, I bet a ton of people related to the program were like, this guy's never getting over the hump here at Notre Dame. I think a lot of people believe that, but it's impossible to fire somebody when they go 44-6 and make the playoff twice during those last 4 years.
Right.
Then you would just look at it and say, well, they're close. They're close. How can you do it? Like, he's built this, and that's good. And he did do that, and good for him. But he just can't help himself. And it should, honestly, he could have done so much for just to be celebrated, to be one of these guys who just shows up randomly on like a South Bend weekend 10 years from now, and people, tip their caps to him, give him a standing O or whatever. That'll never happen. Like, he can't let himself because he feels like people are ungrateful for him, but it's because of everything he said and done after the fact. He's made it worse for himself. I just can't believe he's this stupid. But the thing is, too, is like everybody knows, hey, it's not going great with his wife. So he doesn't have anyone to tell him, like, shut up, man. Like, just don't say this. You're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the things that he should say, he doesn't say because he doesn't believe it. Like he clearly has always wanted like people to be like, hey, like, you're giving me a hard time for like not winning a title or this, that, and the other. But like, look what I've done. Like, he's the kind of guy he's not driving himself to accomplish more. Like, he wants other people to give him his credit while he's doing these things. I had a take that has aged so good. This was why I was with UHND. It's on like the Single High pod with Frank Vitovich. Long live Single High.
Shout out Frank.
Shout out Frank, dude. Frank's the man. So this was when, like, they were going through success and whatever, and people would be like, ripping on BK. And I made the point at the time that was like, hey, BK has done a lot of good things, and we can go through them, and he should be proud of them or whatever, like in hindsight or in retrospect. So it's like, I can say how good of a job he's doing, but I don't want him to feel like he's done such a good job and that he's accomplished XYZ. I want him to feel like I need to do more than this. And that was the problem. And I said it because I was like, I kind of get the sense that he thinks that he's done enough. And it's like, no. I can say what you've done, but I want you to push for more kind of thing. And with Marcus Freeman, like, he is constantly pushing for more. Like, that is what he wants. And so you can just sense it. It is in the air, and it is in it around the program about the different mindset of these two people and how much better place Notre Dame is in right now. There was a conversation that I saw where someone was talking about that this could be Notre Dame's best team in their lifetime, the upcoming 2026 team. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? That's true. But depending on your age or whatever, the 24 and 25 teams were also the two best teams you've seen in your lifetime at Notre Dame, right? The 24 team, the 25 team, speaking of Lou Holtz, like the 25 team to me is like 1992 Notre Dame, where it's like they were so good, but they had the slip ups. They had the messed up thing in the games. And so that, like, they didn't get a chance to play for the title. 1990, the same way. Like, but those are the caliber of teams that Marcus Freeman has built. I do agree 2026, and what this kind of lead into the team in the spring. I do believe in 2026, like, they have an opportunity here where the schedule sets up for them. They have their returning quarterback. The defense is going to be unbelievable. They've got to figure some things out on offense with wide receiver and running back and tight end to some extent. But I think like they are set up. And there is a point, there was someone made a point in here about like he's trying to take credit for Isaac K. Says he's actually probably thinks he is the reason for Freeman's success. Like, I think that he thinks that even more so, like, oh, I set the program up to be elite going forward because of what Marcus Freeman has done. And it's like, nah, bro. Like,
Yeah.
they had to get rid of a lot of stuff from your era before they could take steps forward. And I think they've taken those steps. And so, like, this team has a real chance, has a definite chance to, be I mean, they're one of the favorite, they might be the favorite to win a national championship next year.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where Notre Dame is right now.
Well, here's the other thing too, is that if you look at like say Nick Saban, and obviously he's in a different stratosphere than Brian Kelly, right? But if you look at like say the playoff last year, the top 4 teams were all former assistants, Saban assistants. And that was like celebrated and it was like a big thing. Obviously, it helps that he works for ESPN and all that. But by the way, Brian Kelly, while he was getting canned, 2 of his former assistants had like the best year Vanderbilt has ever had, Clark Lee, and Mike Elko, taking Texas A&M, perennially underachieving program, takes them to one of the best seasons they've ever had. I mean, I'm sure they had a better season in 1934 or something like that. But like in the last whatever amount of years, 50 years, Texas A&M probably has not had a better season than that. And they're going to keep doing well because Mike Elko's a good coach and he's done a great job. It's like, that is just not even a footnote that it's like, oh yeah, former Brian Kelly assistant, Marcus Freeman, former Brian Kelly assistant, right? Yeah. Like, look at those 3 guys that were your coordinators. And I mean, you could even say to like Chris O'Leary or, like all these guys, there's a lot of people, Mike Denbrock, there's a lot of Brian Kelly coaching DNA that's out there. But because the guy's unlikable and because of all the other stuff, he's never going to get credit for that because there's no goodwill with him. There's nothing. And it's why too, I can't even imagine, like, I guess like CBS or whoever could hire Brian Kelly to be like, hey, you're going to be on our pregame show or something like that. Right. But it's just like people see him on the screen. It's like, I can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
Like people don't like him. So, and I actually think he's not bad when he's on TV and can talk ball. He's obviously a good football. The guy's won 300 games. He's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. All this kind of stuff. Like he's won national championships at Division II level. And people say, well, it's Division II. Man, you win a national championship at any level, it's a big deal. The guy won everywhere he went. LSU, even at LSU, it wasn't like they stunk. They were decent. They just did not live up to any expectations. And he's just like, but his own ego got in the way probably of more success there. It's just one of these things where that's why I can't imagine him. He's talking about he's going to go visit these schools and see whatever. I'm like, who's going to hire him? Who wants someone would hire him straight up just because they think he's going to win. He's going to win enough here. Yes, his resume, he can win enough. Sure. But when someone says, the job was accomplished, I mean, I promise you, there's not going to be a better job out there for him, better than Notre Dame. So what team is going to hire him that's like, hey, yeah, you can get us to this point? No, that's not what people want.
Right. Yeah. But what I want is someone like him around my program in the spring and everything. And that's what everybody's looking for. All right. Let's move it forward to the Notre Dame football team heading into 2026 spring ball practice. We got a little treat this morning, Jamie, about 6:45 Pacific. alert comes up on Twitter. Matt posts a few notes from Matt. He doesn't even tell us these things ahead of time. We're learning it in real time. So head over to irishsportsdaily.com and check those out if you're a member, a subscriber. There's a bunch of notes on A, recruiting, B, the current football team, and things he's heard. I will do one spoiler for our boy Ray Horton. Okay. Anthony Knapp could be moving to guard. And you've got a hot take on the offensive line going. You think it'll be the story come out of spring? What is it? Let's hear it. Give it to the people, and then we can discuss.
Well, I saw Ray, and then I saw somebody else mention it too. They kind of already took it, whatever. Like, and I was already on this train, kind of thinking this way, no matter what was going to happen with Will Black. Like, I thought whether he's going to play guard, whether he's going to play tackle, I don't care. I think he's going to look like young Joe Alt this spring. I think, not like, finished product Joe Alt ready to be top 5 pick, best left tackle in college football. But I'm talking about where you're like, oh, this guy's going to be an All-American. Oh, yeah. This guy's going to be a high pick. This is it. It's happening. He only came to Notre Dame in June of last year. So he got the late start.
Right.
He might have actually won like the right guard job if that was open, if he had been on campus as an early enrollee before. Like, I think that's a real possibility. The obvious fact of them, I mean, Rudolph had said that they moved him to guard specifically because they were like, this is if we need him, this is where we'll need him this year. And that's the thing, because you didn't want to put him in a situation where it's like, okay, by the way, like, you're going to be, because he wouldn't even have been the third tackle last year, because Lambert would have been the third tackle last year. But now that, Wagner's gone, and then they can mix and match, and they can do a lot of different things. And I don't care. I'm super high in Anthony Knapp too. I think he's going to be an absolute stud this year, and I think he had Anthony Knapp's probably going to be the best offensive lineman on the team next year. I don't care what position he plays. I just think he's going to be probably the best offensive lineman on the team. It makes sense. The guy's played 1,500 snaps. People don't understand how hard it is in college, in high school. Yeah, you can get 500 pancakes or whatever and just destroy kids that are, because you're going up against a 180-pound defense. And you know how hard it is to put a 280-pound guy who's going to be like a second-round pick on the ground? He does that kind of stuff and does it well. And he's a beast of a man, super strong, incredible run blocker, and much improved pass pro than compared to his first year. He's just a really, really good football player. I think he's just going to be just an absolute stud this year. And if it happens where he moves into guard and you're playing him and Black together or whatever, like, man, sign me up for that. I want to see it.
Well, I mean, there's been a ton of buzz about Will Black for a few months now. I mean, just during the year, it was one of those things where it's like, hey, he's a guy, right? He's not playing for reasons that everyone understands, but like, he's a guy, and they're very excited about him. And so I mean, the fact that he's projected to be starting out on the left at left tackle with Anthony Knapp at guard. I mean, just like working with that first group, I mean, they obviously feel very strongly about him, and not just that, but it also shows like his commitment to the off season in the weight room and everything, right? Like, you wouldn't make this move if he wasn't showing just like a ton of potential and a ton of promise and a ton of just like competitiveness, even just in the weight room and the off season training stuff, right? You wouldn't make this move because he hasn't played. So it's interesting. I mean, Sullivan Absher projects at right guard, obviously played a ton last year. He's one of these attitude guy, right? Like, just like a really good attitude. He's got a really good kind of like, when you watch him in the background of some of these runs, like all 22, like, he's just kind of like, he's got that there's a little bit of that Pat Coogan in there, where he's just kind of like galvanizing for the entire line. And then you get Gerby Lambert out to right tackle, which everyone's been kind of looking for. So it's going to be interesting in the different iterations of the offensive line that they can put out there in the spring. That's something that we're all going to be tracking. But it's interesting in the sense that, like, all right, they've made the move, or they're attempting to make the move with Anthony Knapp at left guard. Like you said, he's played a ton of snaps, and so I think people felt like maybe guard could be his best position. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. I've got one on the wide receiver position. So we were talking about, before the show, you thought that no one at wide receiver is really going to stand out in the sense that, like, they're all going to look really good, right? And look, you've got CJ Carr, and you've got a ton of options, right? Between obviously Faison and Greathouse. You've got Gilbert, Saldate, Mylan Graham. Quincy Porter's not going to be working in the spring. Caden Finley, people are very excited about. I disagree. Elijah Burris, yeah, exactly. People are very excited about him. Cam Williams, big spring for him. I disagree. I think the story of the spring at wide receiver is going to be Micah Gilbert. He doesn't have Quincy Porter on the boundary over there. There's not a natural boundary that is practicing in the spring in terms of like someone like Malachi Fields, right? They don't have, like, he was the backup boundary last year, so it's not like there's another player. He's got, the injuries have killed him. I mean, this really hurt my feelings last spring when he broke his hand in the little first drill of spring ball.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in Micah Gilbert. I think he is going to be this story at wide receiver. And I'm not projecting. All right. So people, spring, it doesn't matter. I just think he is going to be like a big story, and he's in the same class as CJ Carr. So they have that kind of rapport. I'm a big believer in his talent. I think it's his time. He's going to get a ton of reps, and we're going to see things like, who's making a lot of plays against Leonard Moore? Micah Gilbert. And that's where it's going to be. So I think people are going to be very excited about him coming out of spring.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched him beat Leonard Moore in one-on-ones, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something that happens very often for anybody. So, I think that says, like, when you can beat the best corner in the country, anyone who can do that, I don't care if it's just one rep, it's a big deal. I think precisely, like, the injuries last year what hurt him, because he got hurt in the fall too, right? And with his hand again, and also to the fact that it's like, you're not, people wanted Malachi Fields to get the ball more, so they weren't going to not give him. There's only so much football to go around. They were loaded last year, and they're really loaded again. And I do think we're not going to see Boykin or Claypool. Boykin in 18, Claypool in 2019, where those guys just had springs where it was like, oh wow, like these guys have gone up a level to a different thing where it's like they are just dominant guys. I mean, if we do see that, the likely guy I think to do that would probably be Jordan Faison. Is what I would think. Maybe Jaden Greathouse, right? Like a healthy Jaden Greathouse too. But like, I think that's something that you could see. But Micah Gilbert, I think he's like, everything is just, there's too many signs there when a guy comes and it's like the first practice ever at Notre Dame, his first practice ever, and you're like, oh, he was one of the best guys. The first practice, I know there was no pads on that practice, but still, it doesn't have it would be such an anomaly for someone to do that and then not be whatever. But it's not like it's just he just had that one good practice and that's the end of the story. It's like, nah, he's looked good for like this entire time when people see him, and like just the buzz, everything we've heard about him behind the scenes too. It's the same kind of thing. So I think it's just one of these things where it just makes sense as he's going to go up a level and kind of be that guy. And really too, it's going to be one of these things, which is great, that it's going to force, like, Quincy Porter is going to be like, oh wow, okay, I got to be at this level. And it's the same kind of thing for all those guys, knowing like Faison's there. It's like, Well, if I want to play, I got to get to his level, or I got to get close to his level, or I got to do that. So I think that's the kind of thing that makes sense. I just think too the corners are too good at Notre Dame for anyone just to be totally dominant.
Right.
So I think there's just a bunch of guys who are going to make plays, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think you're right on that. Gilbert is probably going to be out of the guys that are making the most plays. He'll be one of those guys.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because I also am a big like Mylan Graham guy. I think he's gonna be. I think he could be like awesome. I I don't want to. It's one of those things like it's a projection kind of thing. I've never seen him at Notre Dame. I have no idea, but I like Mylan Graham a lot. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be really, really good. The position that I think what is said is true in the sense that I don't think we're going to get any answers is running back. And I wonder if you agree. Like, do you have like any sort of, I don't really have like a strong feeling about running back, like who it's going to be, who it could be. Like, I don't like, I have that with Micah Gilbert. I don't have that at running back for anyone. I think we're going to go into the fall not knowing who like the top three are. I just think it could be a number of guys.
Yeah, I think it is going to be like pretty murky there too, just because, and it's not because no one's going to stand out enough or not look good enough. It's just that, it's just going to be hard to separate, right? Like, I do think, in a weird way, like people are probably not talking about Nolan James enough.
Yeah. Well, Bobby S is talking about Nolan James. He said,
"There you go, Bobby.
Nolan James will impress this spring." And honestly, you could say, but the point is you could say anyone, and I would be like, yeah, I could see it, And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I could totally see Nolan James.
Yeah, and I do think I'm high on the kind of player that he's going to be, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's like RB1 for Notre Dame this year. Like I think, because there's a real possibility as like Aeneas Williams is going to play. He might just be better than Aeneas Williams. Like that could happen, right? So, but I don't know if like Aeneas Williams he's a really, really good player, obviously. And when they do stuff like RBs versus LBs 1-on-1, like pass plays, like he looks fantastic. There's probably nobody better than Aeneas Williams in that setting. He's pretty close receiver. I mean, Nolan James looks pretty good in those drills too. And but in just terms of like inside run, it's like you got to really like you got to break long ones to really stand out. And is there going to be anyone to do that? I mean, maybe I would say Kedron Young could be the guy who's like whatever, but I don't know how healthy he'll be and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because it in a way, like it becomes a lot harder for Jawan Sider this year, because last year he walks into a situation, it's like you couldn't ask for a better situation to walk into, because it's like, well, you could still play Aeneas Williams there if you wanted. It's like, I got the two best backs in the country, and then like I'm just gonna ride these guys and just whatever. And now it's like, well, everybody's good, but it's like, is one guy that much better than the other? Those are tough decisions to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think, like you said, I think everyone's going to look good at some point. I mean, even the freshmen, I think they'll look good at points, I think it's true. Like Aeneas Williams does have I think Aeneas Williams does have he's played in big games and he's played a role before. He's definitely going to play, like you said. It's just going to be like, that whole thing. And so he's going to be a factor. But I don't know, like Kedron Young, maybe, right? Maybe Javion Osborne looks good. Maybe Nolan James looks really good. So it's going to be up in the air, but I think in probably a good way, because the Notre Dame offensive line is going to be good as well. And so they're going to have holes to run through. They are going to be going up against a good defensive line, though, Jamie. And you got to take about the defensive line someone that people aren't talking about that you've always been kind of excited about? And what's your word on the defensive line?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are coming into spring talking about like, man, Elijah Hughes is really good. Like, I don't think a lot of people are doing that. Obviously, when Jason Onye's getting a sixth year, when Francis Brew's coming in and he's benching 475 and looking just like an absolute like juggernaut of a dude, when you're bringing on Tion Gray and he's 6'5", 333, he's just a monster. And then you got other guys like coming up, and Chris Burgess is getting attention and all of this kind of thing stuff. It's easy to forget about Elijah Hughes. Elijah Hughes, really good last year. People didn't think he was going to crack the rotation. And then he did. He beat out other guys like Armel Mukum, like Sean Seviano, like Cole Mullins. He beat them out, and he was probably, I would say, I mean, he was better than Donovan Heinisch last year, and Heinisch obviously had the shoulder and all that too. Like,
Right.
he was very good last year, and I don't know if people saw any of the clip of Hughes going basement squad 6'10", 610 pounds. It's no joke. That is no joke. And I love the way he plays. I think he's got just a great motor. He gets after it. I think he's a good pass rusher with room to grow and level up. And as much as I think Francis Brew has a chance to just be like, man, he could be 2023 Howard Cross, that kind of year where you're like, oh, Francis Brew, that's, he's playing at an All-American level. I think that could happen. I think a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, Elijah Hughes at the end of spring, he's going to be a guy people are going to be talking about.
I've been watching games back from last year just to kind of get a refresher on some like Elijah Hughes, like guys like him who are coming back and stuff. Man, he makes plays that are like not huge, like, big tackle for loss or whatever. But he makes these plays are like around the line of scrimmage where it's like he's kind of getting held. He comes off the backside, does a spin, and then gets in on the tackle. Like little stuff like that where it's like Notre Dame's defense started playing really well at the end of the year. And it's like, why? Because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where guys like him are making those kind of plays. And I agree with you. Like, it's funny because I saw the same video with the weight room thing and I was like, Elijah Hughes, let's go. Like, because it's not just the fact that he can do it. It's the dedication to the craft of putting the work in.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, right? It's not easy to do, right? Like lifting weights, like lifting that kind of weight, like you have to be very dedicated about it and you have to be focused on it. And so for that kind of dedication to come in, it's like, hey man, I'm putting in the work, right? And I'm ready to go. It shows like a certain amount of intent on the part of the player to be like really good. And so that's exciting. I totally agree. I mean, there's the picture of the D line floating around with their shirts off and stuff. And it's like, man, it's a physically impressive looking group. It just is. And I think, I mean, even a guy like Jason Onye is kind of in the background. You can't really see where he's at, but he's developed.
Hughes is in the background too. There's a lot of there's guys
like,
in the background that you're like, if they stood out in front, you'd take more notice. But it's just like some of these guys are not, that look pretty darn impressive, might not even be in the rotation
right
this year.
Like Keon Keeley looked like a dude. I mean, he just looked like a man. Francis Brew looked like a man.
He's a big dude, man.
I don't want to get too jacked up about the Notre Dame's D-line just yet, but we're monitoring. I mean, it could be a special group on that front. And then you have Charlie Partridge as well, who's coaching them. I think another group that I think is flying under the radar a little bit is the tight ends. And I think the James Flammang hype is going to be big. I know you're on this train as well, but I think that he's going to show some stuff. I mean, they put him in the game last year. He had some blocking reps, but we know that he's an athlete. He can get vertical and he can do those kind of things. I think it's going to be a big spring for him. I think there's going to be a lot of James Flammang hype coming out of the spring in terms of just like what he can do. Because he's just got all the tools, and he's got the opportunity. I think he's going to be the starting tight end for Notre Dame. I think it's going to be up for grabs. I think Ty Washington will look better, but I think James Flanagan's going to kind of show himself to be a special football player.
Yeah. David Solomon, 0 chance Keely's beating out Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's going to have a monster year. I don't think they're, if you watch their film, put them next to each other. I'm not saying Keelan Keely might not be good this year. He might be great. Might be good. Bryce Young has played 2 years in college football, and his tape is not
he's been better than him.
He's been better than him, and he's still got a ton of room to get better.
Yeah.
So I think that is an extremely hot take, David Solomon. A non-hot take, I saw Bobby said Rodney Dunham's going to be the best freshman. Well, he is the top 10 player in the recruiting class, so I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I wouldn't call it a hot take. But back to James Flanagan, if you go back, and I wrote a thing about 5, redshirt freshmen, could make a splash and make that jump. And there's certainly been a bunch of guys who've redshirted at Notre Dame over the years that have become first round picks, become absolute studs. I mean, you look at this team where Boubacar Traore, Adon Schuler, Tay Johnson, CJ Carr, I'd say probably 4 of the top 8 players on the team, maybe 10, whatever. The team's loaded. So whatever, 4 of the top 10, whatever you want to, big time players for Notre Dame. All those guys redshirted. So it's not a thing where if you redshirt, it doesn't mean anything. James Flanagan, go to ISD and read that if you get a chance, because I included a lot of quotes in there. And this quote, this is from before the season. Mike Denbrock, James is a competitor. He loves the physicality game. He loves to compete. Denbrock stated he's had a tremendous upbringing. I think he understands what it takes to be a really good at football. I'm so excited where he's going. And before the season opener in Miami, I would be shocked if James doesn't see time as the year goes along. I think he's continued to kind of grow into our system, understand it a bit better. And after the Pitt game, Marcus Freeman, you talk about a guy that's improving. Oh man, he is improving. He's got a really unique skill set. He's a tough guy, physical guy, but now he's understanding how to control that toughness and physicality, not just be a young bull in a china shop. I know that's coaches speak, but he's understanding technique and angles of deep details. He's played as well as any freshman in that Pitt game. He played really, really, really well. And basically he goes on to talk about how they've gone this far, so they're going to redshirt him and not play him in the whatever. But basically when we're in the playoff, he's going to play a big role. And he was going to play a big role. So it just totally makes sense that he is going to be a guy who takes off. And he's another guy similar to Black too, right? He came in the summer, and if he probably came in January, I bet he might have been tight end too at the beginning of the year. Would have been on the table for him. But he came in, he had to put on weight, he had to do all these things, and obviously he was a 3-sport guy in high school, all this stuff. So he's going to play, and I think, man, I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be an absolute stud.
This isn't a hot take, it's just a question. What do you expect from CJ Carr? I mean, obviously he's going to be good, right?
Oh, he's going to be great. Yes.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things everything is kind of a projection in the sense that he did really well, but there is growth there. Where do you want to see that growth come from? I guess is a better way to put it.
You know what? I think what I want to see from him is where you saw, say, in that USC game, and it seems so nitpicky, but that is the game that when you look at later on, where you're saying, man, that was probably his worst game of the year, right? Where you're just he just wasn't on it. Mm-hmm. And I think he was kind of letting whether it was the weather, whether it's just like his own pressure of like trying to be perfect and doing this, like maybe not wanting to make a mistake because of how how big the game was, all that.
Yeah.
Maybe he let it get to him. So maybe like just shake off those kind of things. Like, hey, guess what? You threw a pick. You or did something bad. Have a bad series. Shake it off and do that and fix it in the game rather than being like, yeah, that whole game he didn't really have it. And I'm not obviously he played well at the end of the year, so it wasn't like any kind of craziness, but he also wasn't tested at the end of the year because they were playing like pretty bad defense for the most part. So just kind of take that next step. Be more confident attacking the middle of the field. I think we're going to see that more, right? Where I think especially early on, he was hesitant to attack the middle of the field because I think he threw a lot of picks in camp, throwing the middle of the field. That's where a lot of young quarterbacks throw picks. And now I think he's going to trust more, and you're going to start to see more of those kind of throws where, where like he layered it over to like Eli Raridan over the middle. Where in camp, I think it made sense that Jane Greathouse was like, obviously, like they thought he was going to be like probably wide receiver 1 for a lot of camp. And they try to force the ball into him when it's like, maybe it's not there, but it's like, nah, when it's there, you gotta throw it still. And I think that like attacking the middle more, just shaking off some of like the bad things and just getting rid of that kind of quicker. Man, it's really like hard to pick stuff because I just think he did so many things where, and normally you would say, man, mentally check into things quicker, do this, get into the right play. It's like, man, I think he was already like really, really good at that, like extremely good at that. So, but if he even goes a step further there, like I honestly think too, when it comes to like NFL draft time, and I already saw like Adam Schefter was talking today about how teams are being like, if you want to trade, it's like, yeah, give us 20 to 27 picks because everybody's trying to get the quarterbacks there because it's going to be Arch Manning and CJ Carr and Dante Moore and whatever Julian Sand and like all these guys. Like it's going to be like a year where there could be 6 first-round picks at quarterback. Like that could happen, and it would be pretty shocking if CJ Carr wasn't one of them unless he decided to stay or something. Like, and it almost have to be like something went wrong if he stayed, because I just can't see him having a worse year. He's going to be a better player than he was last year. And I think what makes him, I mean, he's obviously physically gifted, extremely accurate, but I think it's his brain that helps, and maybe it's just from being like, being a football family and just having that ingrained in him, but he's just a really, really smart football player.
Yeah. I think, like, slot fades need to get cleaned up a little bit. Like he was a little bit inaccurate with those. Like I think throwing the deep ball, just a little bit better accuracy with the deep ball. And I don't want to say nitpicky. It's just one of those things, like missed opportunities last year at times. Just clean those up, and I think that would be kind of expected from a player of his caliber to clean up that kind of thing. Bobby S says, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think Faremo is going to be one of the talks at camp. He's a beast. I think that's true just from a like practicality standpoint, because I don't know how much Drake's going to play. Obviously, KVA is not going to play that much because he's got the ACL that he's recovering from. So I mean, Faremo's going to get a ton of work and he's going to get a ton of snaps, and so he's going to be involved. So yeah, on that front, he'll definitely be one of the talks at camp. And I think from him, it'll be this is just my impression, my guess. There will be a lot of like flashing, looks good, and then kind of gets lost sometimes, just because it's a hard position. The linebacker position. And when you're a part-time player and you're forced into like full-time work as a sophomore, there's going to be some moments where it's like, he was in the wrong gap or he was in the wrong place. But he's going to be a good football player. Everyone should be excited about him and what his role is going to be. But I don't know that it's going to be like, oh, he's ready to take snaps from KVA or Drake Bowen or anything like that.
Yeah, I think he could. That it is like on the table that it could happen for him because he has stuff that like it just KVA not being there, like Matt and Ferrero, I assume based on what they have did with him last year was KVA, Sneed, and Matt and Ferrero would go with the defensive line for part of the, for people who don't know, regular practice, just an average football practice for almost any practice I've ever seen. When they do 7-on-7, you do one-on-ones for O-line, D-line, pass rush. Right. So linebackers have to obviously be there for 7-on-7, but some of those guys leave because they're also going to get some pass rush reps. Right. And he was one of the guys. And then, so that obviously what they think of what he can do in his skill set. And he's someone I think can do that. And with KVA out, that is a natural thing for him to get more reps and do that. I really love the flashes I saw from last year. I think because KVA was at such a high level when he came in, there's going to be like expectations, and it's like kind of impossible for any linebacker to kind of meet that kind of expectations. I think he's going to take a jump this spring and probably look really good. But I also heard that he's like maybe nicked up a little bit. So I don't know if he's going to get as many reps as he probably would have, when that might hurt him a little bit from that perspective. But I think it's just a big camp in general for all these other linebackers because, you know, Bowen is probably going to do very little. Even if he was fully available, you'd imagine he'd be at least a little bit limited. But because he's coming back from surgery and KVA is going to miss, I would assume, the whole spring, that leaves a lot of reps for like guys like Kano Kia and Teddy Rizak and Ko Kia and all these like guys to get and Ferrero to get a bunch of reps with the twos or maybe even the ones when you wouldn't have got those reps before.
Yeah. Kind of my last one. I think Dallas Golden is going to like end the Christian Gray at nickel stuff. Like not end it, but like is his position, in my opinion. I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to get stronger. I think he's had the experience from last year. I think he has the skill set for it. And I think he has the mindset for it. And I just think he's going to be really good. I think that's going to be a big thing in the spring. It's like Dallas Golden. Like there are other players who can play it, right? And we're rotating guys in, but Dallas Golden, when he's available, is going to be the starter, barring health, of course.
I love that. And I think that I wouldn't be surprised at all by that happening. I want to point out too, because this kind of blew my mind when I was doing something. I wrote a little bit something about Christian Gray because I was writing about like the, explosive passing. And that was probably, I mean, definitely in the beginning of the season, it was Notre Dame's Achilles heel.
Yeah.
You didn't see him give up way too many explosives, which was shocking. A lot to do with the transition, but also just like, they just weren't as good. And then obviously got cleaned up later, but that's what kept them that early part of the season in those explosive plays. That's what kept them from being, they were still a very good defense, a top 10 because they weren't a top 3 defense because of that. And that's what they kind of need to clean up. And obviously everybody knows Christian Gray, like that is probably his biggest weakness was he gave up the deep ball way too much. How about this? In his first 10 starts, he gave up 1 reception of 20 plus yards. And you know what that play was? Can you
the NC State game?
No, this was.
Wait, are you talking about Christian Gray?
Christian Gray, yes, Christian Gray. First 10 starts of 2024.
2024
so before the USC game because he missed the Louisville game, obviously. So not that game.
1 reception of 25 yards in 2024,
or 1 reception of 20 plus yards before the USC game.
Before the USC game. No, I don't know it.
Malachi Fields, that play that actually was a pass breakup.
That's why I didn't count it because it doesn't count. But yeah, I got you.
But that was the only one technically
interesting
that he gave up. I mean, he did get kind of beat on the play, so whatever. But he finished, so I don't care. He won. He won the rep. He should have. It shouldn't have
Right.
happened. And maybe that was just like a weird like voodoo or something like that. But won in the first 10 games. So 15 games since then. 15. 15 20 plus receptions. Like obviously that's I mean, to be fair, he's went up against like Jacoby Lane, Mekhi Lemon. These are the guys who got him, like Mario Craver, Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., Jeremiah Smith. Like, two guys are going to go in the first round this year. Two guys are going to go day 2 this year. Jeremiah Smith is going to be, he's like maybe the number 1 overall. Like if there wasn't all the quarterbacks, he's going to be it would be shocking if he's not the highest non-quarterback or one of them. Like he's going to be a top 5 pick or top 10 pick or whatever. Like he's a generational talent. And so those are the guys he gave stuff up to. And then Mario Craver, who's just like probably going to be a high pick too, but he's just one, maybe the fastest guy that they played against last year.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's a lot of things. But then when you think about you're playing Miami, you're going to play Malachi Tony, Cooper Burkhart's like pretty good player. They grabbed a couple other guys in the portal. They signed like a top 50 wide receiver guy this year. Like they're going to have some players. Darian Metz is a pretty good quarterback. Like, so you think about that game and you're like, well, that's where Christian Gray, where you're going to kind of see, and they'll play some teams before that have some guys, but it's like, that's ultimately where you're going to see like whether or not like, hey, Christian Gray's whatever. Cause that is the thing. Cause he led all power 4 corners in flags last year. And it is a thing. He grabs, he gets beaten, he grabs. So that is something I think we talked about the thing with Davis Igbinison, where he was like beyond like the worst flag guy of all time, basically. In that year, they won the national championship, and then this year he cleaned it up. So we'll see with Gray, but like, and obviously too, if he's having trouble, they got other guys that can play.
Yeah. Blayberg says, "Can we get a Greg hot take on the safety room?" I don't really have one. I mean, we know Adon Schuler is good. We know Tay Johnson's good. We know Luke Tolich is good. I mean, we know Ethan Long is good, right? I mean, at least he's playable, and that's 4 guys. Beyond that, I don't know. I mean, Matt had a nice little update on Joey O'Brien. That's just one I want to see. I want to see him first before I have a hot take about him. It's hard for me to say because the quality of that room is so good. It's just hard to know how good is he relative to the quality of the guys ahead of him. I mean, maybe he's great, but it's like, is he going to be so good that it's like Luke Tolich, he's taking his spot? I don't know, man. Luke Tolich can play. Right. Luke Tolich, my hot take is that Luke Tolich is better than like Luke Tolich will be a better player than Joey O'Brien and Ethan Long. Bobby S asked me, Ethan Long holds off Joey O'Brien hot take. Like I think Luke Tolich holds off all of these guys because I think he's good. And especially going into his senior year, he's going to be good. Any last one from you on hot take? Just any sort of parting shot for us that you feel like, you know what, look out for X player.
No, because I think I'm with you in a lot of ways where there's so many guys, the depth is just so good on the team that I could, really like stake my claim that this guy is going to be something, and it might not be the case just because that guy still might be really good. It's just that some other guy might be better. It's like even that thing about like Tolich. Like I do think I mean, first of all, he was great in his role last year.
Yeah,
great in his role last year. It isn't crazy that Ethan Long by the end of the year could be the second best safety on the team. Like that, it could happen. Like it's not insane. Because he's a good player and he's like going to get better and all this, right? Like, it's just one of these things where it's like, man, I can't believe we live in these times, to be honest. It does feel like a lot closer to like Alabama type of problems when it comes to certain positions and stuff like that, where you're like, this guy's a good player. It's going to be tough for this guy to get reps. And injuries are going to happen and stuff too. And like guys are going to get Wally pipped. Like some guys just going to step up and do it. Cause it's just, it's what happens. And, weirdly kind of that there was all those injuries in 24 and honestly, I thought it was going to cost Notre Dame way more than it ended up doing. Cause guys just kept stepping in and doing well. Like the Georgia game specifically to me, like just interior when Riley Mills went down, I was like, man, I don't know. I'm like, this is Robert Cross is playing on one good leg. And then you got it's all on Heidish and Rubio.
Yeah.
And then they did it. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, and they're just way deeper now. Like they just I'm excited, man. I'm really, really excited. Spring ball next week. Let's go.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We can end it there. Next week, our schedule is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go Wednesday, Friday next week because there's the press conference and the times are going to be different as well. Cause we're going to go after Marcus Freeman's opening press conference, which I think is at noon on Wednesday. So he's going to have a presser pre-practice. And then there's an open practice on Friday. I think. Not sure, but I think there's a practice on Friday that's going to be open to the media. So we'll go Wednesday, Friday next week on that. So I don't know the times on these things, so we just have to wait and see what it is. So but that's going to be Wednesday, Friday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Power Hour on Monday next week. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what you heard, hit that like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know whatever it is. We are going live. Have a good weekend. We will talk to you next week ahead of spring ball. Keep hitting and hustling.